You know the intensity is about to go up a notch. How we feeling?
We'll see. We'll see. I feel good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, Max, we're starting with you.
Good.
How does Roger Goodell really feel?
I mean, isn't it obvious? Even, look, you don't have to necessarily tell a lie, although the question is there a difference between lying and being political? Nowadays, maybe not. But, look, he says it's an honor. Why an honor instead of a pleasure, for example? Because you can use a word that doesn't indicate that you're taking pleasure in it, right? An honor because you're the commissioner of the NFL. That's an honor. That's who gets to hand the trophy to the Super Bowl winner. So you're not technically lying, but maybe you're also betraying the fact that, of course, you don't want to hand the trophy to the team in the city, in the region, that has been killing you since Deflategate. Duh. I mean, even when there were pictures of, like, Peyton Manning watching Eli win his second Super Bowl, in the media we talked, do you think Peyton really feels good about this? And everyone admitted, well, look, on some level, there's got to be sibling rivalry. He's got to be rooting against it on some level. And that's his little brother. You think Roger Goodell really feels good about that if you had to give him the trophy? Hell no.
I love your passion.
Stephen A.
The man.
Yeah.
Go to the man.
Go ahead, Will. Go ahead, Will.
Well, my only bone to pick, perhaps, with Max would be the idea that somehow lying and being political has become the same thing nowadays.
Right.
I mean, I think since
especially nowadays.
I think since the first Greeks got together and decided persuasion would be the way that they would settle some arguments, lying and being political were pretty much overlapping.
Alternative facts takes it to a new level, Will.
Look, man, nowadays is, nowadays it's all new, right? But I do agree with you about Roger Goodell. I mean, if you don't listen to his actions, if you don't want to listen to his words, he hasn't shown up to New England in 2 weeks, gone to Atlanta 2 straight weeks, skipped New England for the kickoff game in 2015. It's not like it just started happening. They started avoiding New England. But that being said, look, I think Roger Goodell probably feels like he already won this battle. Now, while Patriots fans and the organization may feel like this is the culmination of the event, for Roger Goodell, it's kind of like the fifth quarter. He won in court where he wanted to win, and this is all sort of extra. But for the Patriots, no. This is the culmination. This is the fight. And I can imagine there'll be nothing sweeter for Robert Kraft and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick than that moment that could happen when Goodell has to hand that trophy over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Goodell is smart. He's adroit in regards to the fact that, hey, here's the deal. You want to say what he said because you don't want to give Joe Public the impression that you're going to have a hard time handing the trophy to Tom Brady, who you essentially smeared in the eyes of a lot of people in the Foxborough, New England area and all of that other stuff. But the reality is that if you're Roger Goodell, again, you don't want to do this. One of the beauties of being a reporter is that you know a lot of people in terms of your contemporaries in this business, and you have a lot of contacts, whether it's in the league office, the Players Association's office, or anything like that. And I can't tell you how many people text me in the minutes after the Denver Broncos beat the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game last year, telling me Roger Goodell was incredibly relieved that the New England Patriots lost that game because he did not want to have to deal with New England in the Super Bowl in the midst of Deflategate and all of that other stuff going on. And so there's no doubt in my mind that it's something that he would prefer not to have to do. It's evidenced by the fact that he hasn't shown up in Foxborough since 2014. All of those things are true. But in the end, at the same time, it's not in his best interest to say that, to publicize that. Me personally, I just think that to him, the sad part about it all is that it wasn't really about deflated footballs in the end. The beef with Tom Brady is that you were challenging the authority of the Shield and the commissioner bestowed upon him by the collective bargaining agreement, and that was something that he wanted to make sure that you could not compromise. Look, and unfortunately, to a lot of people, it's about deflated footballs.
I agree with this is the fifth quarter, Will. This is like Goodell's already won, right? So why should he care about this? But obviously he does because he's avoiding New England, right? By everyone's
Maybe he's just scared about his safety in Boston.
I don't even think it's that.
But if you asked him this, Max, if you said, would you rather have won in court or if the price of winning in court was forcing to hand over this trophy, he'd probably take that.
Wait, I want to take that a step further. Do you think Tom Brady would have rather cleared his name and won in court or win the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl. Look, Goodell won where he needed to win. So why is he avoiding New England? Do you watch Silicon Valley? Anyone watch Silicon Valley on HBO?
No.
Well, there are these two Silicon Valley giants battling each other, and one of them is wasting money on billboards going at the other one. And everyone thinks it's a waste of money, but in fact, it does drive the other guy crazy, right? Like, the egos get wrapped up.
Billboards don't bother me.
it's funny
The egos get wrapped up in it, and Goodell doesn't want a giant billboard in his face saying, ha ha, we won the Super Bowl. That really bothers him.
It's funny you bring up Silicon Valley because to me, what this reminds me of is the ultimate Northeastern blue blood rivalry or blue blood fight. I would imagine for most of us watching, whatever moment, and we don't want to ignore the Atlanta Falcons here, but assuming the New England Patriots win that Super Bowl, for this argument at least, that moment of the trophy presentation is going to be largely anticlimactic because this has been the most passive-aggressive, avoiding contact fight you've ever seen in your life. It's like these rich people in the Northeast that sit over a dinner table and have the slightest little disagreements, and the way you get somebody back is to give them side eyes. Or could you believe
that, Roger?
Could you believe that breach of etiquette that he had? This is not Roger Goodell and Robert Kraft. What will happen will be he'll hand the trophy over. Bill Belichick will not look him in the eye. He'll act like the trophy is a piece of junk and pass it on. Tom Brady will be perfect.
He's going to look him in the eye.
Has he ever looked at him?
Stephen A. Goodell,
Another
go
Super
ahead.
Bowl, Roger. How do you feel about that?
First of all, understand something. At this point, in regards to Deflategate, nobody cares about Bill Belichick's reaction. Nobody cares about Robert Kraft's reaction. All eyes are going to be on whatever interaction, if there is any, between Tom Brady and Roger Goodell. Now, the Tom Brady that we know, who's class personified and does everything he can not to make headlines outside of what transpires on the field of play. Will he be that same individual? You got to remember, at one point in time, he came across as an individual that was willing to go as high as to the Supreme Court to fight on behalf of his name. He clearly is an individual who feels smeared. Jay Feely, who's doing fabulous work at CBS, has been a guest on this show on many occasions. He's a former kicker. He's a representative for the NFLPA. He was a representative for years. This guy is also an individual that is very close to Tom Brady and spoke about how irate he was. So if whatever we think we know about Tom Brady, we may not know what's going to happen in terms of how he reacts. If he were to win the Super Bowl, he might be somebody that insists that the trophy is presented to him instead of Robert Kraft, that insists that Roger Goodell communicate with him. I'm not saying it's going to happen because I don't know. What I'm saying is, based on what they described of Tom Brady, we don't know what we're going to get from him because he's never been in a position where he felt directly smeared by Roger Goodell, and that's where it gets interesting.
That is where it's interesting, Stephen A., and I think we do know what we'll get. Tom Brady will let his actions on the field speak for him. If we know anything about Tom Brady, supposedly his favorite book is the 4 agreements, and 2 of those agreements are be impeccable with your word and don't take things personally. I would imagine for Tom Brady, the ultimate revenge will take place between those 2 sidelines. There's nothing he could say that's more poignant than winning that Super Bowl.
But wait a minute.
That will say everything that he needs to.
By the way, winning the Super Bowl doesn't say anything really about cheating. Other than we can win without cheating, but we knew that because when they caught them with the footballs, they still crushed the Colts. So I don't know how one is related to the other.
Here's how it's related to one. Here's how one is related to the other. If you're asking Tom Brady to speak directly about it, no, he probably is not going to do that. If you're asking him to excoriate Roger Goodell and therefore adding more fuel to the whole Deflategate scandal, no, he may not go that far. But at that moment of interaction between the two, assuming that option presents itself, in that moment, there is no doubt. And like you just pointed out, Will, don't take things personally. There's no question that Tom Brady took this personally. And he should have if he believes that he is completely innocent.
You have children.
If you believe you're completely innocent,
his mantra,
how
not
can
mine.
you not? So there's no question that he took it personally. And by virtue of the fact that he took it personally, it's very, very difficult to predict because, again, you're going to go out on the field, you'll win the Super Bowl. But it wasn't about that. It's really about Roger Goodell. This is what you tried to do to me. And you never know how somebody's
And what
going to
if they
react
lose,
in
by
that
the
moment.
way? What if the Patriots
Of course.
lose? What does
Then he
Tom
can't-
Brady
he's in a
say then?
position to
There
say
will be a
nothing.
post-game
He's in a position to
press
say
conference.
nothing.
He's still a winner because he got back
The worst thing
there.
that could happen here for the NFL, for the New England Patriots, for anybody, is for the New England Patriots to lose this Super Bowl and have it be tied to some sort of controversial call. If that happens, the entire sports world is going to explode.
We agree there.
And
We
by
agree
the
there.
way, I know this is the end of the debate, and I can't open up a whole new can of worms,
Okay.
but you've got to stop with the throat clearing that Tom Brady's the greatest of all time, but you could switch him out with some other quarterback.
Sure.
Max,
Absolutely.
This is insanity.
Actually, if you
need
switched them out with
intervention.
Aaron Rodgers, they would be appreciably better. Because Aaron Rodgers is clearly better.
We're going to have an intervention here.
You can come
But
back another
Brady has
day, and
benefit.
we'll do
Brady's
that
great
debate for the
quarterback. You can do that
800th
young
time.
claim.
Just make sure that intervention occurs without me, because I'm tired of arguing with Max about that, Will.
Okay.
I second
Do
that.
it without me.
It's so,
Mine
it's
just
so
happens in
easy
commercial
being
breaks.
right when everyone else is so
Can
wrong.
we continue on? Because there's more I want to get
Let's
into.
do it.
Okay, thank you.
Or it's easier believing you're right when you almost never are.
You should
Well, go ahead.
tell me about that. You must be an expert in that category.
I am an expert. I'm an expert in a lot of different things, as this show displays every day. But let's move
Speaking
on.
of delusion.
Thank you. So if it happened, TMZ seems to always get a picture of it. TMZ spotted Roger Goodell and Patriots owner Robert Kraft leaving Rockefeller Center in New York, and Kraft had a smile on his face while talking to Goodell. This coming days after the commissioner chose not to attend the NFC Championship game instead of going to New England for the AFC Championship game. As Stephen A. alluded to, he's now avoided New England since 2014. Now, Stephen A., we know that Robert Kraft is one of the most powerful owners in the NFL. What do you make of his relationship with Goodell?
It's definitely good because business is good, and that's Robert Kraft's bottom line. As much as he loves the Patriots and what have you, he is about the business of the NFL and making sure that the NFL prospers. And he knows that Roger Goodell has facilitated that. I've spoken to Robert Kraft on several occasions. I had the pleasure of interviewing him last year on my radio show. I revered the man personally. I got a lot of love for him, and I know that as much as he loves the Patriots and he owns this team, he is about what's in the best interest of the game, even when he disagrees with the decision, which is why he initially said, let it go away, came out and regretted it on behalf of Tom Brady, but still made sure that his relationship with Roger Goodell is intact because he knows Roger Goodell has proven to be good for business with NFL owners.
Robert Kraft is 1/32nd Roger Goodell's boss. So, as long as Goodell has the money coming in by the billions, Kraft is going to be happy with Goodell.
Yeah, let me get this straight. A billionaire might be able to get over personal animosities, petty slights, and small relationship problems in the long-term interest of his pocket. Get out. A billionaire can do that? Get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Shocking.
you so much for being with us.
You bet.
Appreciate you. Coming up, they are two of the best players in the NBA, but if you had to choose between LeBron James or Kevin Durant in crunch time, who you got, folks? These guys are about to go in on that topic. And the moment is finally here. Up next, T.I. joins the show to talk about his Falcons making a run at history in Super Bowl 51. There he is, looking fresh. Don't go anywhere. You're watching